Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Not Changing My Dog's Name When My New Neighbor's Child Had the Same Name? I could see the complication, right? You're leaning at the door, you're like, Jimmy! Jimmy! Neighbor's kid's like, dude, what? I, 36 male, am the owner of a Great Pyrenees Australian cattle dog mix named Charlotte, 6 female. I live in a lower middle-class suburb in an unspecified United State. I have lived here for about a year now, and I let Charlotte out to go potty roughly 6 or so times a day. It's always the same routine. I open the back door, Charlotte runs out to pee and patrol the yard. Apparently it's a Pyrenees thing. And doesn't typically come bounding back to the door until I poke my head out and call her name. About a week or two ago, maybe longer if I didn't notice, new neighbors moved in across my back alley. I had no intentions of interacting with them whatsoever, like ever, except today when I was executing the last step of Charlotte's aforementioned potty protocol. I stuck my head out and called her name, but this time, alongside the familiar sounds of my dog galloping up to the porch steps, was an adult, human voice shouting something along the lines of, "Why are you calling my daughter?" At first, I thought I might just be my new neighbors getting into a spat until a couple minutes later I heard pounding on my front door. I opened the door to an angry man about twice my size glaring me down. He said something like, "Why the F are you calling my daughter into your house?" And I responded, "Your daughter's name is Charlotte?" And he said, and he just kept glaring at me. In absence of a response, I followed up with, "Charlotte's my dog's name, dude." And he rolled his eyes at me and said, I better change my dog's name because he doesn't want his daughter, 2 female, getting confused and running into my house. I told him that's not going to happen because not only did my dog have the name first, we also lived here first. Plus, I don't like strangers making demands of me before even attempting to be polite. What I didn't say, but really wanted to, is that teaching his child stranger danger is his responsibility, not mine. Touché. He called me stupid and said that a human child obviously has priority over a dog for a name. I shut the door in his face and stared at him through the peephole for a moment before he eventually walked back to his house. This last potty break, I went out with Charlotte and stayed in the yard with her until she finished her business, but this guy just kind of stood in his yard with his arms crossed and glared at me the entire time. So the question here is, am I the astronaut for not changing my dog's name when my new neighbor's child had the same name? No, you are not the astronaut for not changing your dog's name. What if you had a kid named Charlotte? Would you be marching over there saying, "My kid has that name, you need to change your kid's name"? I mean, if you wanted to be extra polite, you could start using a nickname or a different call mechanism or something like that. You could start doing something different, but you have no reason to be polite because they weren't. He showed up, made demands of you, and tried to bully you into changing your frickin' dog's name. Not gonna happen. My concern now is that one way for him to end this feud is to get rid of your dog. So now you got to keep a close eye on your dog because he obviously has unrestricted, at least view access of when your dog is out there. I would be concerned that he at some point does something to your animal, thereby removing the confusion. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, this seems like the kind of asshole who's going to do something like that. It is his responsibility to teach her stranger danger, not yours, and you may end up having to say that. Also, you're going to have to get a Nest Cam or something like that in the backyard if you don't have one already. You're going to have to get some security footage, probably on your front and back entrance here, which sucks. I get it, but it's probably a good idea to have anyway. But now you've got a higher likelihood of some bullshit going down, so you have to. It's not really a question of if something's going to happen at this point. It's a question of what and when, unfortunately. Why would his 2-year-old be outside by herself? Maybe he's thinking ahead. Maybe he's like, in years to come. But also, how about we just tell the kid that doggy's name has the same name as yours? So when the neighbor says Charlotte, they're talking to their dog, not to you, okay? Good gravy. Not the asshole at all. This is their responsibility. The fact that he came up and just demanded it of you and threatened you, like you're just going to change your animal's name. Yes, let me undo 6 years worth of training because it inconveniences you somehow. Like you might actually have to do some work. Sorry. What is this logic you speak of? I don't know. I heard about it once. I heard about it once.